You guys know that I always want to give you the straight and accurate legal stuff on this case. So I want to thank this commenter for pointing out something that I had completely forgotten about. When a defendant contests that a court has personal jurisdiction over them, there's actually two forms of ways that they can contest this. One is a facial attack, and one is a factual attack. What I described in my last video is a facial attack. So a defendant would argue that even if all the facts in the complaint are true, there's still not jurisdiction over the defendant. So even if I sold one item in New York, that's not enough for jurisdiction under a due process. But a factual attack is when the defendant argues that the alleged jurisdictional facts are false or inaccurate. So a plaintiff alleges that I traveled to New York to negotiate a contract. Then I would provide an affidavit showing that I never went to New York. So here, as Judge Wallace is doing, presenting evidence, affidavits, declarations, documents that contradict Lively's jurisdictional allegations. So allegations that tie Judd to the New York jurisdiction. And as a result of this factual attack on personal jurisdiction, the burden shifts to Lively to prove jurisdictional facts by competent evidence, so not just allegations. The court can consider evidence that's outside of the pleadings, unlike what happens 90% of the time, I would say, with motions to dismiss, and might even hold a jurisdictional evidentiary hearing, which is basically a mini trial. So this is where the evidence will be put up against each other. So evidence that Wallace was in New York at the time, or street relations agents were in New York at the time. Evidence about that would contradict what Lively's allegations are. So for example, Nathan wasn't in New York during the premiere, something like that. Thank you again to the commenter that reminded me about this. I want to make sure that I'm super clear and not misleading anyone, so I hope this helps clarify that point.